first part of the first section of the Sermon on the Mount is called the Beatitudes. And these are basically blessings that are based on the characteristics of kingdom people. And so Jesus highlights what a kingdom person is in this short introduction. And then he also highlights what is the result of being a kingdom person. What are the blessings that come as you are a kingdom person, as you are a true follower of Jesus? And so the blessings that come, and it follows the same format every time. It's blessed are the, for theirs is. And it's the same format. So the for theirs is, the what is the result of being a kingdom person? Well, it is the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. They will be comforted. They will inherit the earth. They will be satisfied. They will be shown mercy. They will see God. They will be children of God. For the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. And finally, they will be like the prophets of old who were persecuted for doing what was right. And so how does one get these blessings? How does one attain to these blessings? Well, one attains to it by being a kingdom person. And this is what Jesus is calling people into. He's standing on the mountain and he's calling people into the kingdom standard. And what is the kingdom standard? First, it's being poor in spirit. And poor in spirit is sort of the opposite of self-righteousness. It is the recognition of the sinful state of the soul. And without this first step, there is no entering into being a kingdom person, because we all are in a poor state of the soul, because we are affected by sin. And if we think of ourselves as self-righteous, as righteous, and yet our souls are tainted by sin and they need to be recovered, then we cannot ever get a recovery, because we keep seeing ourselves as righteous, as good, and yet we have this problem. And this is a major problem with cultural Marxism, because what it does is inverts good and evil to, if you are in a victim status, you are good. And this is extremely harmful for people that are actually in that victim status, because they start to see themselves as righteous, as not having the problem of sin. And without that, you cannot be a kingdom person. Okay, let's go on. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. So mourning. And so this comes with being poor in spirit. What it should be the result, the logical result, if you are poor in spirit, if you have this sinful state, if there is something internally very wrong that needs to be changed, then mourning comes. This sadness comes, a desire to change comes. And so a kingdom person mourns. Blessed are the meek. And so the meek does not just mean walking around being very quiet. It's just another word for humble, basically. Those who do not take that kind of abundant pride in themselves, who are willing to listen, who are willing to hear from the Lord, who are willing to be given direction when it's needed. This meekness is a necessary trait of a kingdom person, because if you will not listen to the Lord when he speaks, then you cannot change. You cannot follow him into the kingdom. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. And so this is very, very important, because the path will be hard. And Jesus emphasizes this multiple times. Following him is not easy. And so there needs to be a deep hunger and thirst for righteousness that is going to be a motivation to keep going. This is at the heart of what it means to really enter into salvation. What salvation is, when we read in Romans and other places, we'll get into this, but oftentimes salvation is different from the way we think of it. Salvation is the freedom to become righteous. It is being able to attain righteousness, this inner desire that God has put in us for righteousness. It has to be preserved to be a kingdom person, because the very thing salvation is being able to become righteous, to become like Christ. That is the thing that we desire to do, but we are not free to because of sin. And so that hunger and thirst for righteousness must still exist to be a kingdom person. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy. So the merciful mercy is a key trait of a kingdom person. This is the age of grace. This is age of forgiveness. God is showing great mercy, and we are to imitate him. We are to be people, reconcilers. We are to follow, this reconciliation God has made through Jesus on the cross. And so a key trait of what should mark us is that we are merciful, is that we don't just try to get just desserts for everything, but instead we're thinking about the reconciliation of God and man to man. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So being pure in heart and having at the basis of our heart a single motive. And that's really what the word pure here means. That single motive is to know God. That single motive is to, be pleasing in his sight. There's a single motive that just wants Jesus. It wants to know the Lord. And that singular motive is extremely important for a kingdom person, because if any other motivations enter in and they compete with that one, then those motives are going to pollute what was pure. And so remaining pure in that heart desire is extremely important for a kingdom person. Blessed are the peacemakers, and this sort of goes with mercy and the idea of reconciliation, that are key. The component of what a kingdom worker is being a peacemaker, is bringing peace about with people and God and people. We are God's agents for bringing about his peace. And this is what Jesus is calling people into. And this is a key tenet. And blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness. The kingdom of heaven belongs to them. And then Jesus goes into specifically those who insult you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil things falsely about you because of me. And so this is a key component of being a kingdom person, because Jesus says later that you cannot follow him and not be persecuted. If the master has been persecuted, you will be persecuted too. This is a message that human beings who are sinful will persecute you when you follow this kingdom message, when you preach it, when you talk about it. Because this is the thing that people want to most ignore. This is the thing people most want to get out of there. They don't want to think about real righteousness, because again, we have this inner desire for righteousness. We come up with all these, what Jeremiah calls these false cisterns, these fake ways of becoming righteous. And when we see what real righteousness is, we gnash our teeth at it. And it either invites us to go after that, to follow the Lord, or to get rid of that person. And we see this throughout history, that people, whether it's in Judaism or within Christianity, if people are really following the way of God, in the Old Testament, within Judaism, and then and today following Jesus, then people will gnash their teeth at you for pursuing God's righteousness. And so this is a key component. You can't be a Christian and not face persecution to some degree. And it's just part of what comes with it. And so these are the characteristics of a kingdom person, and Jesus is sort of laying it all out there to present this initial image, as he's going to get into the rest of this sermon to get into more details. But this is the initial image. This is a kingdom person. And this kingdom person is inheriting the kingdom, is seeing God, is going to be satisfied with righteousness, is going to be a child of God. This is this amazing truth, but you have to take on this challenging characteristics and become this sort of person. And the thing it brings to the mind, to the disciples and the people and the crowds that are sort of listening into this internal conversation between Jesus and his disciples, is this challenge of, I want to be like that. How on earth can I be like that? And that's exactly what Jesus wants to stir in people with the Beatitudes.